Writing manual test cases is one of those tasks that every QA engineer has to do, but it's repetitive, time-consuming, and honestly kind of tedious. So, I built a tool that generates comprehensive manual test cases from your requirements or user stories using AI. You paste in your requirements, hit a button, and you get structured test cases with steps, expected results, priorities, and your other required data. And you can export them straight to Excel. It supports both OpenAI models in the cloud and local models through Ollama, so you can run everything locally on your machine. I also didn't write this app line by line. I vibe coded the entire thing using Github Copilot. I described what I wanted in natural language, and Copilot generated the code, scaffolded the project, and handled the debugging. So, what is vibe coding? It's a term that's been floating around the dev community. The idea is that instead of writing every line of code yourself, you describe what you want in an AI coding assistant using natural language, and it generates the code for you. You stay in the creative flow, the vibe, focusing on what you want the app to do rather than how to implement every detail. To demo vibe coding, I'll start from scratch. First, open VS Code, create a new folder for the project, and open the Copilot chat. I switch Copilot to plan mode, which is specifically designed for thinking through a project, and create a structured plan before any code is written. Before writing my prompt, I make sure question mode is enabled by going to settings and searching for question. Next, I type my prompt. I would like to create a test case generation app that can create manual test cases from provided requirements or user stories. Copilot starts by discovering what's already in the workspace to understand the context better before planning. The workspace is completely empty. So, as a next step, Copilot asks a set of questions. What tech stack would I like to use? How should test cases be generated? What output format do I need for the generated test cases? Where would the test cases be stored? I answered each question and hit the submit button. I chose Next.js for the front end, OpenAI for AI-powered test generation, and Excel and JSON as output formats. Note that for this activity, I'm using the latest Claude Opus 4.6 model, which is very good at generating code. You can also try other models to compare their responses. After analyzing all my preferences and determining Next.js best practices, it generated a structured plan document with 16 steps, from scaffolding the project to adding entries to the gitignore file. This plan also includes verification steps and important architectural decisions. This becomes my roadmap. Every step is specific and actionable. I click Open in Editor, and it starts writing the generated plan into a Markdown file. I then click Keep and select Save as prompt file. I need to specify the location where I want to save it. I click User Data and save the file in the current folder as a prompt file. Now I can reference it throughout the application development session. Next, I make sure Copilot is now in agent mode. This is the mode where Copilot goes from planning to doing. It can run commands, create files, and edit code directly in my workspace. Next, I tell Copilot to start with Step 1, scaffold the Next.js project. You can see it running npx create next app in the terminal, selecting TypeScript and Tailwind CSS. It went through a couple of steps, and I needed to grant permission to execute the shell commands. In the end, it also installed all the dependencies. After Step 1 was completed, I noticed that a separate src directory had not been created. This was actually mentioned in Step 1 of the plan, but I had overlooked it. I asked Copilot to add a src directory, since this approach provides a cleaner separation between source code and project configuration. The Copilot agent made the required changes and moved the necessary directories under the src folder. I also asked Copilot to update the planning document to reflect this change so the document remains accurate and up to date. Next, I asked the agent to proceed with Step 2. Step 2 focuses on defining the data model. Once this step was completed, the agent was ready to move on to the next step. So, I asked it to continue with Step 3. During this step, the agent created prompt template files that contain a system prompt instructing the AI to act as a senior QA engineer experienced in creating thorough test cases. Then, I moved on and continued asking the agent to complete the remaining steps. Now it is time to run the application. Before starting it, I added my OpenAI API key to the environment file. I opened the terminal and ran the command npm run dev. The app looks solid. It includes 3 different pages: a home page, a page to generate test cases, and another page to view existing test cases. Now I'll paste in a user story. Let's go with something simple. As a user, I want to reset my password so that I can regain access to my account if I forget it. The application supports multiple test types. Let's select functional and negative as the target test types and click the Generate Test Cases button. Oops, it's an invalid request. It looks like something isn't working. Let's ask the Copilot agent to fix it. I opened the DevTools to review the error details, captured a full screenshot, and shared the error screen with Copilot. Copilot agent immediately started working on the issue, identified the root cause, and fixed the error. Let's try running the app again with the same prompt. This time it worked. It generated a list of positive and negative scenarios and labeled them according to functionality and priority. I clicked the Save All button, and the test cases were saved successfully. Next, I clicked Export All and selected CSV as the export format. I allowed the pop-up to proceed so the CSV file could download. Opening the CSV file, I found all the generated test cases, including the desired fields such as title, description, steps, expected results, priority, type, and other relevant details. The current functionality seems to be working as expected. Now I want to enhance this app by adding a file upload feature that supports plain text files, Excel sheets, and CSV files. These files can contain multiple user stories, and the app should be able to process all of them at once to generate the corresponding test cases. Let's ask Copilot Agent to improve the app by adding this new functionality. Copilot immediately began working, identified the steps needed to implement the new feature, and proceeded to execute them. The feature is now ready. Let's test it. I have a sample CSV file containing 6 user stories. Let's upload it. Once the file is uploaded, the app displays the extracted user stories. I selected functional as the test type and clicked the Generate Test Cases button. The app is now working as expected and successfully started generating the test cases. I can see a total of 43 test cases. I then saved them and exported them as a CSV file. You can now import these test cases into your test management system, such as TestRail or Jira. At the moment, the app uses OpenAI in the cloud with the GPT-4o model, and I provide my API key to communicate with the AI. I also want the application to support locally hosted language models for privacy reasons and to avoid API costs. Let's ask Copilot to add support for Ollama so we can run models locally. I already have Ollama installed and Llama 3 model running on my machine. Here's my prompt. I would also like to add support to create test cases using local Ollama setup. Auto-detect installed Ollama models via the API and let users pick from a drop-down. The Copilot agent analyzed the current implementation, identified the next steps, and began working on the action plan. After a couple of minutes, the new version of the app was ready with Ollama support. Let's test it. In this new version, we can see 2 new select elements, that is AI provider to select the provided and model dropdown to select the target language model. Let's select Ollama as AI provider and Llama 3 as the model. Here's my user story. As a customer, I want to complete the checkout process securely and successfully so that I can purchase the items in my cart and receive order confirmation. Next, select functional and negative as the test type and click the Generate Test Cases button. Generating the test cases took some time, as local runs are generally slower. The quality of the generated test cases also depends on the language model used. If you plan to run a local model, it's recommended to try different models to determine which open-source AI produces the best results. Additional models can be downloaded from the Ollama website. Finally, I asked the Copilot agent to update the plan to include the newly added file upload and Ollama support features. The agent reviewed the plan and made the necessary changes to incorporate these changes. That's the AI test case generator, vibe-coded with GitHub Copilot, powered by OpenAI or Ollama. If you're a QA engineer or a developer who writes test cases, this can save you hours of work. And if you've never tried vibe coding, give it a shot. Start with a plan, be specific with your prompts, and let the AI handle the boilerplate. You'd be surprised how fast you can ship a full-featured app. The code is linked in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more real-world AI tips for software testers. Happy testing!